we are going to attempt to pull the slave clutch cylinder out of 1989 Chevy 1500. So, just put some hydraulic fluid in the master cylinder. I don't really want it dripping all over the floor. Receipt to return it if it doesn't work. This plunger. I would guess you'd want it all the way in when you install it. It's got a spring. Must have some sort of spring in it. Okay, get that sealed. Grommet for the clutch fluid line. Don't want to get crap in there. Bleeder valve. Alright. Let's see if these are 10 millimeters. Not even close. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, that should work. Alright, I don't want to really get those off until I can get the line smooth. This smooth. Okay, let's see. Now we get well, looks like I got it in the wrong spot. There we go. We'll let that drip. Now, and if I remember right, I gotta save these. So it must be spring loaded, because this is sure pushing back on me. Alright, it looks like the same thing. Alright. So, yeah, they pretty much look to be the same. So there is a compromise on this boot. It's cut right there. Shout out to AVE. Release the shmoo. Oh yeah, so there's a spring in there. The new one. Alright, let's go make sure those bolts fit. Doesn't look like we're dripping much anymore. I'm gonna take the, well, I can take that out later. Well, that's not what we want to do. We don't want to pinch that wire in there. Alright, where's my... Oh, great. There's two of them. Where are the other two? 1, 2. There we go. I'm sitting on it. All right. Alright, where the heck was that? Delete this one. Oh my god, I can't get in here. Alright guys, now we're gonna try to bleed the clutch, which I've never done before, so we are going to see how this is gonna go. So I quickly sat in the truck to see if there was any kind of change in pressure. And let's see, so we got fluid, which is good. Oh man. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. Well, I hear something. It sounds like bubbles. But up here the reservoir looks, it's got less. So I just put, maybe fill it up about halfway. Oh, it's doing something, I think, because I can hear it. Let that reservoir run. Reservoir, oh wow, that a lot of it. Oh yeah, that's just dripping like crazy. I shot hydraulic fluid. I don't know if you guys can see that all over. So I'll put you here, see if you can still see a little bit. What I need to do is I need to tighten that now. All right. We need to fill that up more. All right. Good thing I got another one. Alright guys, so I got a new issue. It's not the battery, really. It is a little low, so I got it charging, but there's sensors, you know, clutch, I don't know what they're called, but there's two switches. There's a switch on the back firewall that when the clutch goes in, it clicks that, so that the car knows that the clutch is in. The problem now is this is now so firm that I can't, you probably can't see it, but I push it down and it makes contact with the switch, but not enough to depress it all the way. So I tried by hand. I pushed the switch by hand, and I'll show you. Let's see what you can see down here. I don't know if you can see anything, but so I got the key in, and normally you have to depress the clutch, right? But that's as far as I can get it. But if I reach up here and I push the right there, so I can start it if I manually depress that clutch. There was a rod, and it was instead of being straight, like the cylinder was on this side pushing the slave cylinder, it was down like that. And I could feel it through the hole, the access hole on the transmission cover, but I don't know what it's supposed to look like. But my theory is if that's supposed to be there and it's like off kiltered, it might be jamming up the clutch, which is why I can't depress it farther than that. All right, everybody, it's done. It's fixed. And I was right why the truck did not, wouldn't start, because that switch, I think I showed you that when you manually pushed it. So I knew then that it was binding up somewhere. And so here's the old slave cylinder, and I'll kind of show you. You know, this boot and this plunger are fixed to here, and then this goes in and out. And when you depress the clutch, plunger goes out, depress, you know, obviously the force of the clutch is pushing this back in. And then you have to overcome the force of the clutch to disengage, to shift gears, and then the clutch pushes back. So this plunger, I had assumed, wrongfully so, that if you just install the slave cylinder, this will automatically mate up with the clutch end, which was, again, just not accurate. And what had happened is there's a little cup that this will sit in. I missed the cup, and when installed, it went under the cup. And so when I got pressure in the clutch, still wasn't feeling right, but I knew I had pressure that went after we bled it. But when I was pushing, this was not going anywhere because the cylinder end was already fully extended, and it was just jammed up in the corner of that housing, and it wasn't engaging with the clutch mounting bracket where it's supposed to sit, the little housing. It missed it. So the clutch was just sitting there fully engaged, and it's not moving. So I look under there and I'm like, man, that was that rod I was telling you about. So I pulled the slave cylinder back out, backed this plunger up. There's an access hole. I reached up in there, pulled the clutch housing where this sits back as far as I could, because it's under pressure. You can't hardly do it with your finger. But then I pushed this in slowly until I knew that it was engaged, and then I squeezed it up. The problem is I didn't want to undo the brakes and bleed them, or not the brakes, but the hydraulic lines and bleed them again, because that was a pain in the ass. So I just left it fully connected because I knew it was bled well. But then this won't disengage because it's full of fluid. So that's got a minimum threshold, and I'm pushing on there. So I had to force that clutch in, hold it, and then tighten down the bolts on the slave cylinder, which was a right pain in the ass. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, gears go in. No grinding. Clutch is in. Reverse. Let's go a little forward. Oh yeah, we're moving. because